Hi, I'm Andy Bannister, the Canadian Director of Ravi Zacharias International Ministries. And as we approach this end of the year, I'd love to take the opportunity to just share with you a few stories of what God has been doing through the ministry here in Canada in 2014 that I hope will encourage you. Well, in terms of our primary mission, evangelism, 2014 has been a year of incredible opportunities. To give you just a few examples. A few months ago, Ravi and I had the privilege of speaking together in Kingston, where we packed out the K-Rock Centre, the hockey stadium at the centre of Kingston, with over 2,500 people. We had to turn many hundreds more away. They'd come to hear Ravi speak on the subject of what does it mean to be human. Afterwards, he and I took questions from the audience and then talked with people to long in the evening afterwards. There was a huge hunger there for answers from people. Well, after Kingston, I was in Montreal, where I had the privilege of speaking at the prestigious McGill University. It was another open forum, this time with the title, Why I'm Not an Atheist. What particularly excited me that evening was not once again the packed auditorium, but the number of non-Christians who were there. The secular society had come out en masse, the Muslim society had sent many representatives, and almost half the audience were not Christians. That was reflected in the questions afterwards, which were tough, honest, and deep. Well, after McGill, where we were back in Toronto, when my colleague Michael Ramsden, RZAM's European director, joined us for a series of evangelistic events, beginning with an outreach to the business community. We were thrilled by the response. He then addressed a large youth event before speaking 3 times in one of the biggest churches here in Toronto. But what particularly thrilled me about that series of events was the response. Over 350 first-time commitments to Christ that weekend. You know, God is on the move. There's a hunger for the gospel. And when you answer people's deep questions, they respond. Well as evangelism, the other thing we love to do as a ministry is help train Christians, equip the believer to better answer the questions of our unchurched friends. And one of the premier ways we do that is through our annual summer school. Our 2014 summer school took place in Langley, BC, and we were thrilled by the response. The event sold out months ahead. We had an amazing array of speakers, but again, it was the feedback from those who attended that particularly encouraged me. Letter after letter from delegates saying, do you know, I came to this event thinking it was going to be primarily a training event full of lectures. What I was not prepared for was how God would speak to me, reach me, and impact me through this week. I'm going home changed and better equipped to reach my friends for Christ. Stories like that make everything that we do worthwhile. Well as evangelism and training, it's also been an exciting year for us in terms of reaching out in new ways into forms of media where we haven't set foot before. Television would be one example. We've actually spent the last 2 years recording an innovative new television documentary called Burning Questions, where we set out not merely to answer some of the toughest questions, but to speak to and dialogue with people of all faiths and none, so that we can honestly say we've represented the view of those who don't share our Christian convictions. Burning Questions aired for the first time on Canadian TV this fall and reached tens of thousands of people tuned in and watched. And it's now available on DVD, and we hope it's going to continue to be a resource for reaching the skeptic. You can sit down and watch it with an unchurched friend, or also a great resource for churches and small groups to use to train people to better reach out to those around them. Well as old media, we've also made some pushes out into new media with our outreach in places like social media. Our Twitter feed now has grown to almost 100,000 here in Canada, and that's terrifically exciting. It's not so much the numbers, but the engagement that I love. If you look at our Twitter feed, you'll see atheists and skeptics and Muslims and people of all faiths and none piling in and engaging with what RZAM is saying and using that social media platform to leap off into other RZAM resources. We believe we have to use the best resources we have, use every platform we can to reach the skeptic and help equip the believer to think. Well, none of what we've done this year in Canada, none of the opportunities that God has set in front of us would be possible without the support of our friends and the wider RZAM family across Canada. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for standing with us. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your letters and emails of encouragement. And thank you for standing with us financially. We try as a ministry not to ask for support too often. Really, the end of year is about the only time we do it directly. And so my appeal to you is this. As you come to the end of this year and Christmas time and the end of 2014, and as you consider your year-end giving, prayerfully ask of the Lord if RZAM is a ministry that He would place on your heart. And if the answer is yes, then we thank you for that support. Thank you for standing with us. Thank you for supporting us, praying us, encouraging us. We couldn't do what we do without you standing behind us. We hope that we are an encouragement to you as you have been to us.